Okay, see you later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loud Spot. I'm your host, Sebastian Cosby, right out of Oklahoma City. Today we are hanging out with Chris Bianchi, who owns Legend Recordings and CB Entertainment out of Cleveland, Ohio. Did I get that right?
That is right. Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Enjoying the weather that we finally have here up in Cleveland and northeastern Ohio. It's finally getting nice out. So, I'm happy that, music is kind of coming back to life, so to speak, as well, man. So I can't complain.
Absolutely. So you got started in the entertainment industry pretty young. I think I read you were like booking shows at 14. Is that accurate? Something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It started as most kids do, with the passion locally of like, hey, we want to start a band. What should we do? How do we get from point A to point B to kind of follow our heroes, at the time that we looked up to and things like that. So that's what started. It was actually playing in a band, booking my own band, kind of figuring the ropes out as most bands do, booking and going through the ringer. And eventually years and years later, now it's led me into a career, in this wild industry.
And that's pretty neat to get started at such a young age. Now, do you still currently play music, or are you just too busy with everything else going on?
No, that's a great question, actually. So thank you for asking even. It's something I tell a lot of my close personal friends or family and things, but, I still do create music. I have a side project kind of thing that's low key. It's very low key, but it's called The Small Town. And that's kind of influenced on where I'm from and the location I'm at. It's kind of a middle of nowhere, one horse town, in the middle of Cleveland and Akron, kind of right smack dab in the middle. So that's something I utilize to kind of fulfill my creative outlets in the side times when I'm not working and helping other artists do their things and stuff. So yeah, I still create. And then I'm also the vocalist of a heavy metal band that was signed and toured and kind of broke ground and got my feet wet into the business that was called Forever in Terror. We were signed to Metal Blade Records while we were still in high school and got to do a lot of cool things. So we are, quote, still a band, although we haven't released anything new or toured or played in quite a long time. So I guess that counts for what it's worth.
In high school, do you think that you were super cool that you were in a band that's touring? Like,
absolutely. It was like a mixture of things. That's kind of like when internet school also came into the mix. So it was like a mix of we transferred into internet school. But yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't, feel cool at that time of like the MySpace era too, and the different era of social media where it was like, yeah, we're signed, and it was a big deal, I guess, at the time. It was cool.
Was your MySpace background picture your band?
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was on the top friends list, and all the fun.
Let's talk about Legend Recordings. So how did you get that started? And what is that all about also?
Sure. No, that's a great question again. So thank you. But so it started, long story short, I won't ramble. But so as my band Forever in Terror that was signed was touring, learning the ins and outs of the road, being on tour, we kind of took a lot of bands under our wing in a way and kind of took them out with us and had them support us. And, that's kind of where I got started in the management factor as well. But it's been a long time coming, and it's been something that where, as the management side, I would always come across these incredible artists that I would work to develop or have something special that I believed in with them. And sometimes I would take them to other labels and try to pitch the story, pitch the purpose, beyond numbers. I'm a numbers guy to an extent, but it's more about passion and reason and song and, something else aside from, they have 12 million streams. So long story short is I wanted a hub to put stuff out that I believed in, basically, that, others didn't believe in, others wouldn't give it time of day. And I said, I'm tired of, banging on these doors. I'm tired of wasting my time and spinning my wheels when I know this stuff is special. It's something special in my heart. And it's not just saying like, I work with them. I can feel, a special vibe that you felt it was special. So long story short was building Legend up over a very small course of time, over 3 years or so, locally, regionally, signing a few acts we believe in, and to now, it's been 4 to 6 years, and we have a partnership with Universal Music Group and Ingrooves, and really some really incredible artists all over the world, from Italy to Sweden to Canada and United States. And so it's just a labor of love, basically, instead of looking at it as like, we're a record company. It's more like, this is our family here of artists and things we believe in and stuff we want to put out, whether the industry accepts it or thinks it's big. This is what matters to us. So that was the foundation, and still the foundation of Legend.
Yeah, I do want to say that Sam is on. He says that my microphone is not working, but you can hear me okay, right?
I hear you perfect, yeah.
Okay, good. So it's still working. It must be a glitch in the wiring system somewhere, but sure. That's what happens. That's what happens when you go live, right?
Exactly.
So, and then your camera just got shut off.
Oh shoot! Let's see, where'd it go? There it is.
There you go.
Back.
Okay. Oh, he says it's good now. I must have did something. Okay. So I did notice going through Legend recordings, I was checking out some of the different artists on there, and it looks like you go everywhere from like metal to even hip hop music, right?
Absolutely.
So when you started Legend recording, was it always to be, and you kind of hit on it earlier, was it always just for the love of music, and if it sounds good, and you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, again, great question. And I mean, I think absolutely, I think there's like some preconceived notion to certain people that they think like, oh, it's a metal label. Oh, it's a rock label. Oh, and that's what, again, there's no rules in the music business per se, right? So, I mean, that's kind of how I've always approached things. Again, stemming back to being from like this small town. I'm not from like LA or New York. I don't live in Chicago. I'm like middle of nowhere, essentially, where I'm at. So like, the rule factor of things that came into play for me was like, why not have just a collective of artists? I mean, people can collaborate and people can do all sorts of different things as they wish. So that's how I felt. And I mean, to be dead honest, some of my earlier days and earlier shows and bookings and things was actually working with a handful of hip hop artists. A lot of people don't know that, and they think like, oh, he's just a rock guy or a metal guy. But I mean, my early shows, even of CB Entertainment and our company founding, was based primarily on, hip hop and doing hip hop shows. And we were a part of the Ohio Hip Hop Awards showcase.
Cool.
And, we booked like MGK back in the day, and he was playing for like 20 people. And so like cool things like that, and we've always had the respect for Cleveland locals like Bone Thugs and Harmony, or Kid Cudi comes from Cleveland. There's some other really talented artists in that genre demographic that we've always, respected. So.
Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony was actually, I think, one of my first CDs I was Bone Thugs and Harmony. Funny story about Bone Thugs real quick is my mom's completely deaf, and we used to have a convertible, and she would take me to school in the convertible, and I would always bump Bone Thugs and Harmony. Well, she didn't know what the music said, and she was coming home in the morning, and the neighbors were like, "Do you know what you're playing, Patty?" And she's like, "What?" Really? Like, F this, and then with that.
Sure. That good book, 1999. And,
yeah, that's right, dude. That's right. Awesome. I think it's cool that you play, that you have different artists with the label. And as a podcaster, for me, I tend to jump. I normally do rock. That's the main thing, but I also like hip hop artists on. And we've had some Americana. I want to get a real good country artist on one day. Just kind of shake it up, why not?
No, absolutely. And that's something that as I grow older, I just turned 33. So I guess older to some, young to others, however you want to say that. But like my musical taste is constantly growing and adapting and changing as well. In my earlier days, I was like strictly into like heavy metal and, is it hardcore and breakdowns and things like that. And as I progressed, I've learned to appreciate other styles, whether it be Americana or a great folk song or a great rock song, great hip hop. I mean, there's such a endless collection of great music out there without, pigeonholing a box for any of the artists. And that's what I try to also kind of share between the artists that we release is like, we're a big family here. It's a big collective. So like, just because you might be a hip hop artist or something, and this is a death metal band, let's see what we can, I'm not saying that we push that, but it's like, let's see, can you collaborate? There's no rules there of like, oh, you can only feature this or do that. So it's been a slow process, but we have seen some cool collaborations kind of coming to fruition from that also. Yeah,
I mean, System of a Down did a song with a hip-hop group, I forgot. And then there was Methods of Mayhem was kind of a mix of metal and rap.
That's right.
I'm only 5 years older than you, so I think we still kind of the same music.
Tommy Lee. I love him.
Yeah, that's right. Tommy Lee was in it. Okay, so I went on your website and I saw there was Dovetail Entertainment signs a deal with Legend Recordings. Now, what is that all about, man?
Sure, absolutely. That's been something that's come to fruition over a course of a handful of months. It wasn't an overnight thing. I mean, I got to connect with Michael Barbie, his name is, and he is the guy that is responsible for, obviously, in our press post, but finding the band Greta Van Fleet, and he's a unique character for the fact of he wasn't necessarily a big industry guy out seeking bands or looking for bands or, something that kind of naturally happened that fell into his lap. Things progressed and he took them from from the garage to the Grammys, although there's been a great team and a lot of things, and it's not just a one-man show by any means, but really inspiring to see how somebody in this day and age especially was able to take, a band of kids or just a group that was talented and take them from a garage scene to a national global level and stuff. So with that, he has his own company, his own entertainment firm where he develops his own artists. He puts out his own talent. And we were able to kind of bring something together where we saw eye to eye and we could bring kind of our Universal and In-Groove's collaboration and a few other extra things that are tools, to help market artists and help market labels and things like that to the table for what he already had happening and was successful, of course, and proven. So it was just kind of a no-brainer when it came time to partnering and collaborating. And I think that's something that's important to us is, I'm out here looking every day for like the underdogs, the people that aren't, again, and I'm not hating or saying anything bad about like the New York or the LAs or Chicago's, but like I'm looking for these people that are like tucked away somewhere and doing something different and special and kind of breaking the rules, making their own lanes and things to figure out how do we all come together, build a big family and, network and help each other and not be so corporate in a way. Again, I'm not dogging that corporate industry or lifestyle or thing, but make our own lane per se. So I think that's been really unique working with Michael. He's out of Michigan. I'm here out of Ohio. We're pretty close in relation and understanding of things. So it's been an honor to bring those guys into the mix here.
Do you think it's more challenging, but also more exciting when you kind of find an underdog, someone who's not in LA, Chicago, New York, someone who is in the middle of Nebraska or Idaho, and there's this awesome music, this band, their creation, and they're not going to be heard because they're not out there playing all the major shows, signing up for all the major festivals. But then you find them, and you're like, dude, these guys are going to kick ass one day. I guess that excites them. It's probably exciting for you too to be able to help people out like that.
Yeah, it really does, and that's something I think that's like the natural artist side of me that still kind of stays connected to the source of things. It's like that's kind of how we came up. Even when my band was able to sign to Metal Blade Records at an early age and be on MTV and tour and do these things, it was basically based off of, getting in the garage every day, rocking out 6 hours a day. That was our only focus, our only dream, our only life. We didn't have any other sources or plugs to the industry or money, no money, no funding, no help from outside family. Like, oh, we can give you a check or, I'm not, again, hating on anybody that has those privileges, but it was like, so there's something deep down rooted to me that when I can connect with like an artist in the middle of like the bogs in Mississippi, who's got a broken down acoustic, but they have just that thing, you feel like that sticks out to me still. And I don't care whether they have 3 streams or 3 billion streams. It's like, that's what I look for at Legends still to this day, is like something that kind of moves me of any genre, anything, like a real story, I guess.
Yeah. So Sam McIntosh has a question. He says, how does In-Groove provide marketing for Legend recordings?
Great question, Sam. I hope you're doing well. And thanks for connecting this whole situation.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. So, it's a case-by-case basis. It really depends, and it's kind of like anything else. Like, is the artist important? So, I mean, just because you go through a major label distribution